In the small town of Willow Creek, nestled deep within the dense forest of the Pacific Northwest, Drive, Emily Carter found herself facing a case like no other. The body of a young woman, found abandoned in the woods, had been brought to her small-town county morgue for an autopsy. The authorities had dubbed her Jane Doe, no identification, no clues to her past. As Emily prepared to unravel the mystery of Jane Doe's death, she had no idea the dark secrets that lay hidden beneath the surface. As Emily and her assistant, Mark, prepared for the autopsy, a chill seemed to settle over the morgue. The fluorescent lights flickered ominously, casting long shadows against the sterile walls. The body of Jane Doe lay motionless on the metal table, her pale skin ghostly in the cold light. Emily couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness as she studied the young woman's delicate features, so peaceful in death. With practiced hands, Emily began the autopsy, carefully examining Jane Doe's body for any clues to her identity and cause of death. As she made the initial incision, the eerie quiet of the morgue was shattered by a sudden, inexplicable sound. It was a soft, haunting melody, almost like a lullaby, echoing through the otherwise still air. Emily and Mark exchanged a perplexed glance, their unease growing with each passing note. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, Emily pressed on with the autopsy, determined to uncover the truth. As she examined Jane Doe's internal organs, she noticed something strange. There were no signs of decomposition, no indication that the body had been lying in the woods for days, as the authorities had initially believed. It was as if Jane Doe had only just died moments before being found. As Emily delved deeper into the examination, she discovered more chilling anomalies. Strange symbols, etched into the skin beneath Jane Doe's hair, seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. A sense of unease settled over Emily as she realized that this was no ordinary autopsy. Jane Doe was no ordinary victim. As Emily neared the end of her examination, a sudden noise caused her to start. It was a soft whisper, barely audible, but undeniably present. "Help me," it murmured, a plea for salvation that sent shivers down Emily's spine. She looked to Mark, but he seemed oblivious to the eerie presence that lingered in the morgue. Fighting against her rising fear, Emily continued her investigation, determined to uncover the truth behind Jane Doe's death. But as she sutured the incision and prepared to close the body back up, a sudden realization struck her like a bolt of lightning. Jane Doe was not the victim here. She was the vessel, the conduit for something far more sinister. As Emily reached for the last stitch, the lights in the morgue flickered wildly, plunging the room into darkness. The air seemed to grow heavy with an oppressive presence, suffocating Emily and Mark as they stood frozen in fear. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the whisper returned, stronger now, more urgent. "Release me," it demanded, a chilling command that echoed through the morgue. In a moment of clarity, Emily understood the truth. Jane Doe was no ordinary victim of circumstance. She was a sacrifice, a pawn in a dark ritual that had been centuries in the making. And now, as the oppressive presence loomed closer, Emily knew that she had only one choice. With trembling hands, she reached for the scalpel and made the final cut, severing the ties that bound Jane Doe's soul to the darkness. As the last stitch was placed, the oppressive presence lifted, dissipating like smoke in the wind. The lights flickered back on, the morgue bathed once more in the harsh fluorescent glow. And as Emily looked down at Jane Doe's now peaceful face, she knew that the mysteries of Willow Creek ran deeper than she could have ever imagined. And so, the autopsy of Jane Doe came to a close, leaving behind unanswered questions and a sense of unease that lingered in the air.